A few years ago, I worked as a night shift receptionist at a historic hotel in a quiet mountain town. The hotel had a vintage charm that attracted guests seeking a unique experience. The night shift was usually uneventful, with most guests settling in for the night early. However, one particular night, everything took a chilling turn. It was around 2 a.m. when the phone at the front desk rang. Startled, I picked it up and heard heavy breathing on the other end. I assumed it was a prank call and was about to hang up when a whisper came through the line. "Help me," the voice pleaded, sounding desperate and scared. I asked if they were okay, but the caller didn't respond. Instead, the line went dead. Shaken but not entirely alarmed, I thought it might have been a guest pranking me or a crossed line or something like that. I made a note of the call and went about my duties, trying to forget about it. About an hour later, the elevator pinged, signaling someone's arrival in the lobby. I looked up and I was surprised to see a disheveled woman stumbling out of the elevator. Her clothes were torn, and she had a wild look in her eyes. She approached the front desk, and I could see that she was visibly shaken. Before I could ask if she was okay, she spoke in a hurried, almost panicked voice. "I need to leave. Please, let me out of here." I assured her that she was safe and that she could leave whenever she wanted. She didn't offer much explanation, but she kept glancing over her shoulder as if she expected something to follow her. As she left, I watched her walk out into the night, feeling a bit uneasy myself. I decided to call the local police, just in case, and explained the situation to them. They promised to do a quick patrol of the area and asked me to call back if anything else happened. The rest of the night passed quietly, and I was relieved when my shift finally came to an end. As I walked to my car in the early morning light, I noticed something odd on the front steps of the hotel. There was a trail of wet footprints leading to the entrance, as if someone had walked in from the rain. I looked around, but there was no sign of anyone. The footprints just stopped abruptly, as if the person had vanished into thin air. It sent a chill down my spine, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something eerie had occurred during that night. To this day, I can't explain what happened that night. The mysterious phone call, the distressed woman, and unexplained footprints. It was all weird, and that whole thing stayed with me. And I believe I'll never find out what actually happened that night. During my college years, I took up a night shift job at a convenience store to make some extra money. The store was located in a quiet neighborhood, and most nights were uneventful. However, there was one night that I'll never forget. It was a chilly autumn evening, and I had just started my shift at 11 p.m. The store was fairly quiet, with only a few customers coming in sporadically. I spent my time organizing shelves, cleaning, and occasionally chatting with the regulars who stopped by for their late-night snack. Around 2 a.m., a man walked into the store. He was tall and had a scruffy beard, wearing a tattered coat that seemed out of place for the season. He wandered through the aisles, his gaze fixed on the floor as if searching for something. I greeted him with a friendly, "Hello," but he didn't respond. His behavior was odd, but I figured he was just tired or lost in thought. As he continued to move around the store, I noticed that he was picking up random items. A can of soup, a bag of chips, and a bottle of bleach. The combination struck me as strange, but I didn't think too much of it at the time. He came to the counter with his purchases, and I scanned them one by one. When I told him the total, he handed me some crumpled bills, which I counted carefully. As I counted the money, I realized he was staring at me with an unsettling intensity. His eyes were cold and seemed to bore into me. I nervously finished counting and handed him his change. He took the change but continued to stand there, staring. I mustered a polite smile and said, "Is there anything else I can help you with?" He finally spoke, his voice low and gravelly. "You have a nice smile. It's a shame." His sentence trailed off, and my heart began to race. I was alone in the store with this stranger, and his words had an eerie implication. I was about to ask him to leave when the bell above the door jingled, and another customer entered the store. The man's gaze never left me as he slowly backed away and left without another word. Shaken but relieved, I focused on helping the new customer, an older woman who was friendly and chatty, and she stayed in the store for a while, and her presence was comforting. Around 3 a.m., the woman finally left, and I was alone again. I tried to shake off the unease from earlier and went about my tasks. As I stood behind the counter, I heard a faint scratching sound coming from the front window. I turned and I saw the man from before, his face pressed against the glass, a sinister grin on his lips. Panic surged through me, and I reached for the phone to call the police. As I dialed, I kept my eyes fixed on the man who was now circling the store, peering in through every window. The police arrived within minutes, and they found the man still outside, behaving erratically. They later informed me that the man had a history of mental illness and had been reported missing by his family. He had been living on the streets, and his behavior had become increasingly unstable. Combination of items he purchased, can of soup, bag of chips, and a bottle of bleach, raised concerns, as it was eerily similar to a makeshift explosive. I quit my job at the convenience store shortly after that night, and I'm glad I don't have to deal with anything like that anymore.